You are Locked On Mavericks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Thanksgiving early, and here we go. Welcome to the Locked On Mavs Postcast on a Wednesday night. I am longtime host and reporter Jeff Biggs. Great to be with you as always. Thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your destination after every single Mavs game. You can also find us on the Locked On Mavericks podcast feed, and that is where you will find the best Mavs podcast out there with Reaction Daily. And that, of course, is the Locked On Mavs podcast with Nick Anstedt. I mean, this Mavs coverage and this Mavs team is so big. We have not one, but two post-game shows going for you right now because there's so much coverage and so much to get into. But I'm glad you're with us here. I know Nick is doing his thing as well, and we're excited about that. Lots to talk about tonight. Another total team win for the Mavs. 6 players in double figures, and Najee Marshall making another start, led the way with 24 points, 23 for Kyrie. And this episode, by the way, is brought to you by Robinhood Gold, providing the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. There we go. All right, well, coming up, we're going to talk about what the Mavs did tonight. 129-114, the final score. We'll talk about what the Mavs did tonight and how they did it. And later on, you're going to want to stick around for this. I thought some very telling comments before the game from Mavs head coach Jason Kidd. You're going to want to stick around for that. I think you'll agree with me, but I think it's also kind of very telling and in a good way. So that is coming up as well. But let's talk about this win tonight. Again, 129-114. And you got to love the NBA. And look, I mean, the Mavs have had some tough moments. And for me, the big question kind of coming into this game, obviously with all the illnesses and everything going on right now, right? No Luka, no Clay again tonight, although the good news is even with the plantar fascia, they believe it's nothing serious with Clay, which is great. I've said this before, having torn my plantar before, I wouldn't wish that pain on anybody. I mean, I've been through things and have been hurt, but that was probably the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced when I tore my plantar fascia. I was in a walking boot for a week, and I've said this before. I don't know how these guys come back from it and manage it and come back so well, but they do. But good news, sounds like Clay, it's nothing serious. And no Daniel Gafford tonight. He was the latest to get this illness that's been going around with the team. So you had that going in. And again, you didn't know how the team was going to come back. You get off the road, and as somebody that has been around a team and has traveled with the team as a beat writer, I'm not saying I'm playing or I played, but a lot of times, sometimes when you get back home, that first game after a road trip, and for the Mavs, this is their only game because they have to go right back on the road on Friday to go to Utah. But sometimes that first game, your legs are just not quite there. It's like you're back at home and you just kind of exhale a little bit, and then you come out and your mind is good, you're fresh, but your body is kind of sluggish. But these guys are phenomenal athletes, great shape, best athletes on the planet, and they were ready to go tonight. You heard Kyrie on the post-game interview. He said, hey, man, we wanted to come out and hit early and strike early, and they did that. And what amazes me about the NBA is you can have a team like the Knicks that on Monday night I mean, they just go off in Denver, 145 points. I mean, what, an embarrassing win. I mean, that's great for them, but what an embarrassing loss for the Nuggets to give up 145 points. Brutal. But I mean, the Knicks coming off that win, and they scored 38 points in the entire first half tonight. And look, I mean, look, part of it was obviously the Knicks. I mean, they missed a lot. They missed a ton. But even before it was really kind of ugly and they were really, really bad. I mean, you could see very quietly, we've been talking about injuries and different players with shooting and offense late in games, but very quietly, like over the last week, kind of coming out of that bad stretch and even the bad loss in Utah, very quietly, this Mavs team has kind of picked it up a little bit on defense. I don't know if you noticed that, but they've been better. And again, they're using all kinds of different combinations, but the effort and the what they're trying to do and the mindset of how they're trying to kind of tighten up defensively, I think it's really noticeable. I think you could really see an uptick over the last few games. So that was very good. And I don't know what it is. I've been covering the NBA for over 3 decades now, and I don't know what it is. I mean, it's not just an NBA thing, but I've said this before. It's almost uh, almost harder at times to play with a lead than it is to be behind and trying to come back. I know it sounds crazy, and it's nobody's fault per se, but man, it just when you get up by 20 plus points, I mean, it just it's just a game thing, man. The team that's holding the lead, they're not trying not to score. They're not trying to play bad. They're not trying to let up per se, but it just kind of works out that way. And then you have the other team, like the Knicks tonight, that were desperate. I mean, they scored 43 in the fourth quarter. But one thing I really, and I want to mention this too, and as again, you don't like to see a team blow a lead, right? And you hate it when a team really comes back. But what I really like tonight is, even though the Knicks had a couple of 6-0, 7-0 runs, every time they just took one step, the Mavs made them take 2 steps back. Every time they got a little, within 15 or so, the Mavs would make sure that they scored and kept it going and did not let it get below or get it really any closer than that. So I think that's a very good sign there, number one. And number two, what another thing that I've noticed about this team, not only have they been better defensively, but this goes back to kind of on the road trip. Jason Kidd and the staff kind of made an emphasis of trying to be a little more inside out, not settling for threes, but really trying to go inside a little bit more. It's been tough because, I mean, you had Gafford out tonight. You had Derek Lively missed the second half the other night in Atlanta. So again, you have to, everything that we talk about, you have to kind of put under that umbrella of just this team is kind of, piecing it together one game at a time, especially without Luka. But what I've noticed too is, and we saw it again tonight, is if they have a bad possession or somebody takes a bad shot, I like the way that it's almost becoming habitual that the next possession, they make sure that they have a good possession. They make sure that they go inside or try to do something that's a little more high percentage. Same thing with the shooters too. Again, and I thought, Spencer Dinwiddie did it tonight. Had a couple of misses and then made sure that he took that extra step and got a little bit closer to the basket to make sure that it went in. I like that. I like the way, Quentin Grimes, man, how awesome was that to see Quentin Grimes get that 4-point play in the fourth quarter after, I mean, he was scuffling. He couldn't buy a basket even at the free throw line in the third. but he had that big play. Even Ortman, Gortman, not Ortman. I was thinking of something else. Gortman had the three at the in the game at one point. So it was that kind of a night. And my final thought in this opening segment was, I don't know about you, but look, I love the win in Atlanta, love the win in OKC, but kind of feel like, man, it's been a little bit. It felt like the Mavs needed to get a good win at home on their home floor. I mean, that's going to be big, is really having a home court advantage for this run. And I know they have. I'm not saying that they don't play well at home, but I'm just saying every season's different. Every situation's different. So I wanted to see them beat a good team and have a good win on their home floor. I mean, they lost to the Rockets, lost to the Pacers, and it's not their fault. They haven't played a lot of big home games yet this season, but I really wanted them to kind of come out tonight. And this is one of those games, you got Brunson back and you got Kyrie going against the Knicks. And it's one of those games that Quentin Grimes too. So I wanted to see the Mavs kind of step up and impose their will in this kind of a game. And I thought they did that. It was very good. So coming up, we'll talk a little bit more about what the Mavs did. We'll get into some of the numbers. And again, coming up in segment number 3, want to stick around for what I say is, no kidding, some very interesting and very telling pregame comments from Jason Kidd that I think you'll find very interesting. That's coming up on the Locked On Mavs Postcast. All right, I want to tell you about Robinhood Gold. You don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. There you go. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered at Robinhood Gold LLC. And while we're talking about that, also, I want to make sure to let you know about our friends at FanDuel. That's right. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. You got the games coming up tomorrow. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. This is the Locked On Mavs Postcast. My name is Jeff Biggs, longtime host and reporter. And I was thinking about it before the game tonight. Man, it's been over 30 years, going all the way back to 1993 when I covered Jason Kidd when he was a Cal. And it just makes me feel old because I don't feel old. Like my entire career, I was always the young guy. And I guess, time is undefeated and I'm older. But coming up, we're going to talk about some comments that Jason Kidd made before the game. But You can tell that, we talk about the shooting and the threes and everything else, but you can tell, though, that, Jason's a runner at heart, and you can tell that he wants to get this Mavs team running again or running more. It wants them to be able to play and run on the break and finish in transition and get easy points that way. And I think that's another area where we've seen this Mavs team also kind of stepping it up. But 129-114, the final, as they knock out the Knicks. Game was never, it's one thing to have a big quarter. It's one thing to kind of step it up in the second half. But this was literally, right? This was a literal start to finish win for this Mavs team. They came on strong early. They jumped out early. And like I said, they really it was never in doubt. It was never under, once they jumped out to the big lead, I don't think it was ever under double digits at all at any point. That's not easy to do against a very good team, right? And again, the Knicks were playing back-to-back. Yeah, they played Monday night, but they were off yesterday. And we talk about getting up for certain games, right? Certainly for the Knicks, coming into Dallas and playing this Mavs team was a big game for them, and they just could not get it going. And again, part of that was them. Part of that was their bad shooting and misses, but part of it too was the Mavs and the way that they play defense. So good win all around. And I like the fact that the Mavs shot the ball better. Seems like they're getting much more with this group, right? Without Luka and even without Clay the last couple of games, this group that is playing the bulk of the minutes, I think they're getting more comfortable with one another. 17 of 33 tonight. That's very good. Rebounding edge, again, 43-33 for the Mavs and 27 assists, which is good. Good sharing the ball. And I made this comment after the win the other night in Atlanta, and I'll continue to say it. I like the you can tell that this team has a chemistry, and we heard about that. We heard things about how this group spends time during the off season, right? And they're a very close group. But that you can have teams with guys that are best friends, and that doesn't mean you're going to win, or it doesn't mean you're going to play well together. And on the flip side of that, conversely, there have been teams over the years in the NBA, teams that off the court, teammates hate each other and still found a way to win. So that stuff really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. But this team on the court does play very, very unselfishly, and you can see that. And again, I like the fact that in a situation like tonight, yeah, look, Kyrie's going to do his thing, and he is just so good at knowing what needs to be done and how to do it and how to kind of get the team going. And he did a great job, I thought, of keeping the team going tonight. But what I liked about this group tonight and what they did is you don't have anybody that's trying to play hero ball. You don't have anybody that's trying to just like, okay, Luka's out, Clay's out, so I'm going to be the man. And everything was in flow, everything was in the offense. Again, taking the extra passes, making the extra play. If you miss a three, trying to come back and have a better shot the next time. I like that. Spencer Dinwiddie, again, sometimes a little cold when he comes in initially, but he had 10 points in the third quarter. That's what you want to see. You want to see that constant improvement and striving to improve. And so that was good. That nice block by Derek Lively tonight. Some of the things that I know, the 23-7 start was great. Gortman for three, 15 points in the first quarter for the Knicks. That's a season low. 60-38 was the score at halftime. And again, I like the way that the Mavs are just, it's becoming part of their game now, part of their DNA now, to go to the basket after a bad shot. And like I said, nice to see Spencer Dinwiddie kind of step up the way that he did in the third quarter after kind of a slow start. Quentin Grimes, good to see him finally get going. And so now the Mavs are in a spot where they'll have Thanksgiving off tomorrow, get a little break, and then they'll head to Utah and have a back-to-back beginning Saturday night against the Jazz. Had a tough game there earlier against Utah, so an opportunity to erase that and get another W. And we're going to get into December, and then before you know it, we're going to be into the new year, and it's going to come quick. But when we come back, I want to let you know about. I thought they were very telling comments from Jason Kidd. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but I thought it was very interesting. Some things that Jason Kidd said before the game tonight, and I'll share that with you when we come back. 129-114, the final score tonight. The Mavs knock off the Knicks. Thanks for being with me tonight on this Thanksgiving Eve. I hope that you and yours, whatever you're doing tomorrow, you have a great, wonderful Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for, all of us, and including this Mavs team. To have this team led by Luka with Kyrie and just this group that they put together, have a team that has a legit chance to win the title. That's good. I'm thankful for that. So when we come back, comments by Kyrie. This is the Locked On Mavs Postcast. All right, there is no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent, and you're already paying it by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Join built.com/lockedonnba to start earning points on your rent payments today. All right, so I was mentioning some pregame comments that were made before the game tonight by Jason Kidd, and I'm paraphrasing, but apparently Jason was asked basically who will benefit, or who does he want to see benefit from Luka being out, right? That's an obvious question, right? So, what do you want to see? Who do you want to see step up? Who would you like to see kind of get something positive out of Luka Doncic's absence, right? And Jason Kidd's answer, I thought was very telling. He said, "You know what? I want Luka to benefit." And basically what he was trying to say in a nice way is like, look, we've got a team here, we've got players here, and I want Luka to really see them and learn them and know their game, so that when he comes back, this team can come together even more and go to an even higher level with Luka leading the way and get to that next level, which is winning the championship. Again, look, all the games and all the practices and all the work that they put in, and the back-to-backs and the regular season and then the playoff run. And the goal is not to make the playoffs. The goal is not to get to the finals. The goal is the chip. The goal is to win the trophy. That's what you're there for. And you got Luka now, season number 7 in his prime, playing with Kyrie. I mean, and the pieces that they have around him, you absolutely have a legit shot. And I'm a little bit, obviously I'm a little bit older. I've been covering the league for a long time. I say that not to make reference of my age. My point is that, back in the day, and I hate saying that because it makes me seem like I'm older, but I'm not. But back in the day, that the mindset, the mentality usually is that when you lost a championship or you came up short, I mean, you were the good teams the championship teams usually came back stronger the next season, right? The Lakers and Celtics went back and forth, and they did that. I remember the bad boy Pistons when they were hurt and lost to the Lakers, and they were on the bus after losing Game 7 at the Forum in LA. They were on the bus getting ready to go to the airport, and they were talking about how they were going to come back next year and win the championship again. They were going to make it and win it this time, and they did. The Lakers didn't have Magic or Byron Scott, but that's another topic for another time. But yeah, and so that's the mindset that you have to have. I mean, it's not about, oh, it's great, great team, and the goal is to get back to the finals and win it. So look, Jason Kidd, I told you, I couldn't believe it. It's been 31 years since I covered him at Cal, but Jason Kidd, look, if you watch his press conferences, he knows what he's saying, and anytime he gives an answer or he gives a quote, he knows what he's saying. And I'm not trying to make more out of this. I'm not trying to make it a negative. I'm just saying I think the message is kind of clear that, okay, Luka, this is the team here, and this is the team that we have, and this is the team that we're going to need. We're going to need all hands on deck, because as great as Luka is and Kyrie is, they're going to need everybody. They're going to need, all the guys to step up. And over the course of a playoff run and a championship run, it's not just the superstars that have superstar moments. You get a lot of guys that chip in and help. And so I thought it was very telling. I thought that was Jason Kidd's way of saying, Luka, you need to lead us. You need to. When you look at star players and you look at the evolution of their careers, right? Usually it's you get into the league and you have to fight and earn the respect, right? You have to prove yourself, and you have to, let everybody know that you've arrived, and then you have to kind of get to a certain level, right? Consistently. And it's not just about having a big game, but you have to be dominant, and you have to have a dominant season. But then once you kind of get to that plateau, then it kind of shifts, and then all of a sudden it's about, okay, but what about the championships? And as great as you are, what are you doing to lead your team? What are you doing to make your team better and to get your team a championship? And so I think that's where Luka. We know that Luka is if not one of the best players in the league, period. I think everybody agrees on that. I mean, he's awesome, scoring champion from a year ago. I think he's the best, right there, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. So we know where he's at individually, but now it's, can he and Kyrie get this team back to the finals and win a championship? I think they can, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. And again, Jason Kidd knows what he's saying, knows what's going to get back to Luka and what's going to be heard. That's good. And it's a positive. It's not a negative. It's not a dig. It's not saying that Luka can't do that. It's just kind of, okay, watch these guys, kind of get to know them, because we need you to lead the way. I thought that was cool. Very cool by Jason Kidd. And just to prove my point, Jason Kidd, it was one of his post-game press conferences from a couple weeks ago. And one of the reporters asked him, it was one of the funnier exchanges I've heard in a long time. One of the reporters asked him why he didn't play a certain player, and Kidd's response was, well, it was coach's decision. And the reporter followed up, well, what was the decision? What was the decision? And Jason Kidd said, coach's decision. That was it. It was perfect. As he left it at that. All right. On that note, it is Thanksgiving Eve. Hey, thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, Nick Anstead and the crew, Isaac, and Slightly Biased. I mean, without a doubt, they have the best Mavs podcast out there anywhere, hands down. They're doing their thing right now. They're going to have stuff the rest of every day. I mean, they're the best. I'm just grateful to be a part of the team. Glad to be with you after games here on this channel, on the Dallas Sports Channel, Locked On Dallas Postcast channel. I'll be back with you again on Sunday night after the game, but the Mavs are going to be, again, enjoying Thanksgiving tomorrow, which I hope that you get to do with you and yours. Enjoy the day. Like I said, a lot to be thankful for all of us, and we'll see what happens on the road at Utah on Saturday night. That was probably, to me, probably the worst game of the season, if I had to pick one so far. The Miami game was pretty tough too, because I thought they should have won that. I thought they were going to get that win, but the Jazz, though, just the way that the game was played and the way that they lost was ugly. So I'm looking forward to a little redemption on Saturday night. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. My name is Jeff Biggs. Talk to you over the weekend. Enjoy. This has been the Locked On Mavs Postcast.